Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss Liz Truss's plan to issue her own budget for growth just before the official budget statement from the government next month. I mean, why not? Her last attempt at a budget statement went so well, didn't it? But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So it's just getting better and better for Rishi Sunak. After his disastrous HS2 announcements, which even the Financial Times have labelled pure improvisation, and the polls painting a worse picture for the Tories than before the conference, with the potential bonus of losing 2 more safe seats to Labour this week, you'd think the last thing Rishi Sunak wants to learn right now is that Liz Truss is going to tell him how to arrange an election-winning budget. Yeah, that is exactly what she's doing. Oh, did I mention that Liz Truss is as nutty as a fruitcake? The general public seem to be already aware of this, but not the Conservative Party, and therein lies the danger for Sunak. I've said before, Liz Truss is a much greater threat to the Tories than many of the party's MPs seem to realise. The vaguely sensible ones think that because she's not part of government, because the public already knows she's a nut job, that it's all just harmless noise, you know, like a child shouting for their mum's attention before jumping in the pool. But they should know better. After all, the Tories have spent the last few years trying to counter the threat of Keir Starmer's Labour with the line they keep falling back on, we all know what it is, with monotonous regularity, but what about Jeremy Corbyn? Do they not realise it works both ways and it works better against them? In fact, with talk of Liz Truss wanting to return to government after the election, possibly even for a second crack at the top job, the public have to view the Conservatives as a party that might let her loose on the economy again. What are they going to do about that? Nothing at all. Liz Truss's reputation, especially for economic competence with the public, is so bad that she could actually present a really good budget plan, and it would still be roundly rejected around the country because people will not listen to a thing she says. It's been reported that her new Loony collective, known as the Growth Commission, is going to present an exciting series of policies on November the 14th, the week before Hunt tries to make his own statement. Now, here is the problem for the Tories, which I just don't think they see. Truss is going to announce her budget, her exciting proposals. I've not seen an advance copy, but I'm going to hazard a guess that it's not very different from her brain fart from a year ago. It will be based on the readily disprovable notion that you can cut your way to growth. It will be full of tax cuts for the rich, and if there's any attempt to balance the books, spending plans which are based upon pots of gold magically appearing in the Treasury as soon as the tax cuts are implemented. Not that the spending plans will have to be costed, because absolutely nobody's going to take her budget seriously enough to run the maths on it. I'm sure there will be holes big enough to see without any real calculation, but nobody's going to stress test it, least of all the Office for Budgetary Responsibility. Last year, the OBR didn't produce a report on her budget because she told them not to. This year, it'll be because they can't be asked. Now, Tory MPs have a choice here. They can all come out and say that her new budget is the same as the last one, that it would achieve the same disastrous result, that the party has moved on from her, and that she's just trying to grab attention. That way, the public could then see some distance between Liz Truss and the Conservative Party. YouGov carried out another survey on Liz Truss recently, start of this month. The question was how interested people were in what Liz Truss had to say. Only 11% said they were, with 82% saying they were not. This means that all the Tories have to do is disown her nonsense and they can move on. The public are quite happy to ignore her. Truss can only cause trouble if Tory MPs play along. Which brings me to the other choice that the Tories have, the other extreme, which I think is actually more likely. What Tory MPs could choose to do is for the sensible brigade to say nothing, whether in the hope that if they ignore her, she'll go away, or in trying to avoid a big blue-on-blue fight, leaving the crazies to loudly cheer the ambition in her plans. Doubtless the Tory media will loudly hail the brilliance of her budget statement. The Daily Mail and the Daily Express absolutely will. And make some comments that they hope Hunt is paying attention as he puts the finishing touches to his own statement, and that he could do a lot worse than to invite Truss in to discuss how her ideas could boost the official budget statement. That would give the strong impression that Tory MPs want the Liz Truss budget, and that voting for them at the next election might just see it happen. Put it this way, although Labour have plenty of material on Sunak to use at the general election, it would not surprise me if they also have campaign lines along the lines of, oh, but what about Liz Truss, ready to go as well. Vote Sunak, get Truss. That is a credible concern, because there's currently no attempt by the Conservative Party to distance themselves from either Liz Truss or the disastrous impact of her weeks-long leadership. Then consider the situation Sunak may find himself in if we sort of think towards late November. First of all, he is vulnerable to a confidence vote at this point. I wonder if some MPs are holding off submitting letters until after the budget statement. I can't really know one way or the other, but that's possible. Consider that Tory MPs are reported to be accepting that Labour had the best of the conference season. You know, the polling is going to fluctuate. The thing about saying Labour's had a conference bounce in the polls, it's like, yeah, the thing about a bounce is it comes back down again. No doubt the Tories will get really excited at that point, but all it'll do is come back down to where it's been all year. There's not going to be any overall progress shown for Sunak. The Tories may have lost 2 more safe seats in by-elections by then, and facing 2 more coming up. We don't know the situation yet there, but that is a strong possibility. Then Truss claims she's got a budget that allows for tax cuts, something that a lot of Tory MPs think they need to challenge for their seats at the next election. Then imagine that Hunt stands up in Parliament to present his budget statement. He says, sorry, there's no fiscal headroom for tax cuts. The cost of borrowing is going to be way higher than expected, and the following year is likely to be even worse than this year. Oh yeah, that'll rally the troops. You know, he's already said this in the media, by the way. Now, it's possible he's laying it on thick in the media so that he can then present a looser budget statement to try and win over his colleagues. Oh, don't worry, I've done some magic and actually we'll be in much better shape than we thought. But it is also possible that he's just laying the groundwork for disappointment for a really restrictive budget statement, which is the last thing you want before an election, particularly for the Tories who haven't actually delivered anything in 13 and a half years. Tory MPs may then look at the 2 budgets and decide actually they like the sound of Liz Truss's budget way better. Sunak and Hunt cannot convincingly appeal to their MPs to have faith in them because they've not delivered anything. Hunt may well be painting a picture of an economy in no better shape than when he took over. Well, that's not going to give you confidence that he knows what he's doing with the economy. Sunak will definitely be on a platform of polling figures which have not improved all year. So neither of them will be able to say to their colleagues, you need to stick with us, because they will answer back, why? Where's your proof that that's a good idea? Granted, Truss is in a similar position, but her ideas are more crowd-pleasing. Well, for Tory crowds, that is, as I say, not the voting public. But many MPs have a skewed view of the voting public anyway. A lot of MPs on either side are incapable of critical thinking. They tend to gravitate towards the polls and surveys that back up their prejudices. So do they look at the YouGov and Ipsos Mori polls? No, we'll look at the Daily Express poll. Thank you very much. And that could get very messy indeed for the Tories if they don't stop looking inwards all the time. You know, the public are picking up on these bouts of self-centred introspection. The public are looking to the government to deal with major issues like failing healthcare, which is going to be failing a lot more visibly by late November, by the way, and the cost of living crisis, which Sunak is doing nothing about. They do not want to see the party of government looking misty-eyed at the economic advice of someone who blew a £60 billion hole in the economy last year. Yet there is every chance that this is exactly what voters are going to have to see next month. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.